Okay. You want to get into it? Get started? Get going?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right,
As
cool.
long as the gremlin doesn't chew my wires or anything.
Yeah. Pretty smart, those
It's
gremlins.
the best case scenario, really.
It was more like a cautionary tale, so now I know what to look out for when I call tech support. I'll let them know it's no gremlins.
I mean, you live on the top floor of your building, right? So they could definitely rig up your computer chair to send you flying out that window or slider, and that's it for you.
I mean, I don't want to victim blame, but having a ramp that big in your house was kind of asking for it.
Yeah, and a steady turn too. There's no like landing for it to have to slow down on, where you could have gotten jostled out. No, this. She wanted this.
There was not very many safe ways that thing could possibly operate. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, you're right. It's her fault that this happened. She should have known this was going to happen someday.
Well, she also was a bad person, so she deserves it.
All true. She's a dog hater, which is
right?
This is what happens.
Oh man, I was like almost yelling at my computer screen. I was like, or I could just do that to you, you wrinkly old bitch. Like you're like threatening a virile young man and you're like going to blow to pieces if a strong breeze comes by. Like, where do you get off?
Yeah, I had some thoughts on her as well.
Oh man, sorry.
I like virile to describe that guy. Like, that guy fucks. I agree.
He fucks.
It's definitely his defining characteristic. This guy's sex drive is out of control.
Is that the most accurate use of that word? Maybe I have a different.
I think it just means like what's another word for that? Like you're young and healthy.
Like young and healthy. Yeah, like
having strength, energy, and a strong sex drive. That's the number one result for virile definition.
Well, no, that works too because it's like a little rom-com. Like that kid fucks, or he wants to anyway.
Are we sure it's the water that caused the Mogwais to multiply?
Yeah, just one drop. And
there's that one lady gremlin, and you don't know their gestation period is. Maybe it's a couple seconds. Apparently,
I mean, it wasn't necessarily a lady gremlin. It was just a gremlin in ladies' clothing. Could have just been filling a role.
Is it the girlfriend of the head gremlin dude? Is that the one you're talking about?
Seemingly, right? She's only in that one scene.
Yeah.
I'm thinking prison rules. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. That gremlin was chosen.
You're my girlfriend now.
I don't know how much of that's keepable, but I'll figure it out. So, as you guys know, I don't know how to start the podcast. So it'll either be maybe max 15 seconds of that or something along the lines of, welcome to Late to the Movies. My name's Ben Holden, this podcast where my friends and I get to fill in our movie blind spots. Each week we'll pick a film that either I or a guest hadn't seen before and really should have by now. This week, continuing a whole month of holiday movies, we have Gremlins, 1984's Joe Dante directed classic. Comedy horror, a little of both. Yeah, that's the genre. Sure.
I thought it was a kids movie. I haven't seen it in years.
Oh, it's not.
Nope. It wasn't my favorite movie when I was little, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, I thought this movie was intended to be a kids movie. And I remember it being a kids movie. Not how I feel today.
No.
Oh, no, definitely not. Yeah. So this movie was rated PG in your defense, but this and I mean another Spielberg production, Temple of Doom, were the two movies most often cited with getting the MPAA to introduce a PG-13 rating, which didn't exist yet. And
did you you notice the billboard right in the beginning, the nice Indiana Jones billboard in the background?
Oh yeah,
it's like nice Spielberg, nice.
All this Spielberg cross-pollination stuff. We'll get into all of it. Before we get there, though, I guess your guys left to right across your podcast style. When we're on Discord, I go clockwise. So Cory's here. Hey, Cory.
Hey.
Noah.
Hello.
And Robbie.
Yo.
And bringing up the rear this time, it's Craig. He's in
I'm Craig.
Yeah. Craig, if you don't respond yourself, then other people will for you. So that just goes to show. Have you guys watched anything good recently?
Most of Law and Order SVU. I think I'm on like season 18.
Jeez, that's a lot. God. That's a lot to churn through.
There's that many seasons?
It's like 23 or something. I don't know. I have like a law degree now. They just mailed it to me.
Yeah.
After the last season, or was it only 10? Or
Just halfway through, and then I'm gonna get like a doctorate afterwards when I finish the whole thing, because it's like
nice.
25 years
Nice.
worth of show.
That is insane. But hey, fun maybe? Or is it background noise for you, or are you like really into every episode, taking notes and getting your JD?
I got double screen, so like I'm normally like playing video games, fucking around, and then I just have it up on the other screen.
Yeah, makes sense.
SVU.
Yeah. Or sometimes I pull it up on Hulu on my phone if I'm like working, and then I just have that up on like my desk.
I've been watching that Godzilla show, Monarch. Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
I haven't gotten beyond the first episode yet, which I think I had mentioned last time, but you stuck with it because they're doing what, 2 episodes a week or something like that?
Yes, I've watched 3 episodes. I think 2 more either come out. Oh, actually, I don't know if there's 4 or 6 now. But yeah, I've enjoyed it so far. I think it's pretty good. I mean, I'm not like a diehard Godzilla fan, but it just like looked like an interesting show. I do want to watch that new Godzilla movie as well.
I was gonna say it's a boom time for Godzilla. Godzilla -1 and the surprise hit of the winter, or I guess late fall. It's staying in theaters really strong. It's performing really well. It's an actual like Toho produced Godzilla movie, not a Legendary, which is the American versions of the Godzilla and King Kong movies. And apparently it is extremely good, and I really want to see it. But that's true of like 4 different movies that just came out, and there's not enough time. And it's like, do I see the new Godzilla movie, or do I go see The Boy and the Heron? I don't know.
Well, if you watch Godzilla, let me know. I may be interested.
Boy and the Heron's the new Miyazaki. Are you going to catch that one too?
Hopefully, maybe. If I leave the house.
It's playing in IMAX right now in Providence.
Oh, it's in IMAX?
Yep. And they're doing 2 screenings a day dubbed and 2 screenings a day subs in IMAX.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Cool. That movie I actually kind of want to watch dubbed.
Yeah, the voice cast is pretty
just because the cast is wild. Like I don't know how they got all of those people, but
yeah. It's incredible. It's Robert Pattinson and Christian Bale, I know, are like the 2 main guys, but the whole thing is just like, A-listers after A-lister. It's crazy.
Oh, all right. Yeah. I want to watch that too. That has to be an IMAX.
Thought that might be up your alley. Noah, you seen anything recent?
Yeah, I saw Napoleon in theaters. That was like
oh, nice.
weeks ago at this point. Yeah, it was really good. It was really spectacular.
Yes.
Yeah. Some of the battle scenes are just absolutely wild. And then I streamed recently a film on Amazon called Totally Killer, just like a horror comedy that came out this year. But it was fun. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Nice. I also went to see Napoleon. So the big question, since it's a Ridley Scott movie, he's already promised that this is basically a sizzle reel, and the real version of it, the 4-hour version, will be the one that goes on Apple for streaming. Are you going to watch the 4-hour version when it comes out?
Probably not right when it comes out. It did kind of seem like it was in a weird place where I felt like they either should have cut a shit ton of it out and made it way like focus on maybe one portion of his life or Rain or whatever. Or just go absolutely balls to the wall and just throw in a bunch of more shit in there and make it wicked long. So it sounds like that's what they're gonna end up doing.
Yeah. Apparently, I felt the same way. I think that's what I said the last time I talked about it. Was like, it either had to be, cut out 40 minutes of one of the things, or add an hour and change of everything.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of get whiplash in that movie, but it's so weird. I loved it.
Yeah, it was cool. Joaquin was good.
Gremlins. Let's talk Gremlins. Wild movie. I hadn't seen it fully in like a sitting before. Seen lots of clips. It's a very famous movie. But yeah, so I counted it as I hadn't seen it before for this one. How about you guys?
I've seen it at least once in its entirety when I was younger, and then like just randomly I've watched parts of it, when it would come on TV. And like I have like clips in my head that I remember of the movie. And I don't think I should have been allowed to watch this when I did.
Sure.
Yeah, it's way more violent than I remembered. Like, they get brutally murdered, and so do people.
Well, that's the thing is, like, nobody actually gets brutally murdered because it's all just implied deaths. Like, they cut away and you never really, like, unless you're an adult to see it. You know what I mean? Like, the snowplow thing, I don't know if I would have picked up on as a kid that, like, they were fully dead when they were like, oh, the plow went through the house as an accident. You know what I mean? There was no blood splash. There was no, they were just like, and then it cuts away, and then
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
So you had seen Gremlins before, is what you're saying?
Yeah. No, I watched it a bunch as a kid too. But the only thing I could remember from it was the girl's fucked up story about her dad on Christmas. That was like, I vividly remember that story and nothing else.
Interesting.
Yeah. Dark. I had kind of like Cory. I had seen it when I was younger, and I probably saw pieces like on TV or whatever, but I really didn't remember anything about this movie at all.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool. So enough of us either hadn't seen it or didn't remember that much of it. So I guess any of us really can do a 1-minute plot summary if anyone's got one in the chamber ready to go.
Yeah, you probably do a 1-minute plot summary.
It is pretty straightforward. You might not need the whole minute, but that's really up to you.
Yeah, no, okay. All right.
Even better.
Let me know when.
Whenever you're ready.
All right, go. So there's this guy, he's a traveling salesman. He's clearly not super successful. He's got a really dumb product that's trying to do too many things all poorly. But he's running around town. He finds this back alley shop that he comments on. It must be hard to find. I agree. Anyways, they go in there. There's like the squeaky noise in the background. Just trying to sell some bullshit to the guy. He really doesn't care. Wants to buy this little creature called a Mogwai, something like that. I might have fucked that up. That might be the guy from Jungle Book, but Mogwai. Yeah.
That's
so whatever. He gets the M thing. It's not gremlin, but so he gets it. And he wants to buy it. Guy doesn't want to sell it.
Okay, you got 2 seconds.
To him. Jesus Christ! All right. Well,
you're selling the first scene.
Jesus. Sorry. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna redo this because I didn't get very far. All right, ready?
Go.
1-minute plot summary. So, traveling salesman. Guy's not very good at his job. Goes to this store. There's a Moagi in the store. He wants to buy it. Guy says it's not for sale. He offers a lot of money. His son wants to take him up on it, so he sneaks it out to him. Guy takes it home to his kid, tells him the rules. Can't get it wet. Can't feed it after midnight. Can't put it in the sun. So it ends up getting wet and multiplies a bunch. The things that come out are little fucking assholes. You can tell right from the beginning. They're little shits. And then they trick them into feeding them, eating them after midnight. They become like monsters, gremlins. They're born with an innate knowledge of electrical engineering. And they just start fucking things up like crazy. So they do that. They have to defeat them. Blah 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 blah. Chaos ensued. They beat them. The end of the movie.
There you go. One of the things I did know just through cultural osmosis about this movie going in was those 3 rules about the Gremlins, and they're like impossible to follow because it's if you don't know what's going to happen, you're like, oh, maybe there's like a local bully or something, and he's fucking with Billy, the kid, the main guy, and he throws water at him or something, and that's how the gremlin gets it. Like, no, just like a glass of water gets knocked over, and they're fucked. It's over for them. People die.
Like, I don't want to like overanalyze it or be too much like how did they get their powers, but these things rules are like how do they survive in the wild? Like what the fuck? That's difficult. Like unless somebody's actively managing them.
Also, when can you feed them breakfast?
Right. When does after midnight end? When
is breakfast time? Because it's like, oh, after midnight. Like, is this like the hour after midnight, or is 7 a.m. a reasonable time to feed them, or do they fast? You just gotta skip breakfast.
This is
wait till
the United States too. So what if you like feed them at 11 o'clock on daylight savings time? It skips forward through their meal. Are they fucked?
Or yeah,
What if it's a Chinese
time zone.
animal? You
Yeah.
know?
There's a lot
These
to
are the
worry
important
about. Worry
questions.
about.
This is what they should have been covering.
Yep.
Spielberg, where are the answers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's ask little Milwaukee himself.
It's a good place
Robbie's
to
naming
interrogate.
is
Yeah.
great. I think you called him like 3 different names.
I have
little,
no
who's
idea.
little Milwaukee.
Yeah, you do the
Yeah,
thing my
Milwaukee.
dad does where you just like add a bunch of syllables if you don't know what the name is.
That's my dad, or anything in any other language is just
Yeah,
like
just keep adding syllables. Some of them are
Some kind of Pokemon.
yeah, he's a bit of a Pokemon. So this is so you mentioned Spielberg. He's the executive producer on this. He, like most people, asked Joe Dante to please take out the part that I think Noah you mentioned of Phoebe Cates' character's weird backstory of why she hates Christmas.
Oh yeah,
it was Robbie. Sorry, Robbie.
Specifically, I made it a point to mention. I said it's the only thing I remember.
Yeah,
Like, who remembers
Robbie.
this? Noah.
Yeah, I think that was Noah. I only remember faces and I can't see yours. So
That's fair.
could be
Can't see
anyone
Noah's
of us.
either, but that's okay.
Literally, like both you and Noah are on the right side of my screen. So I was like, there's only one human over there. It must have been Noah.
To be fair, I did dress up like you, Robbie.
Well,
I was hoping you wouldn't use your camera. So
oh man, I dressed up as you.
I should have known.
Oh, what a bummer. Should have known. That part Joe Dante wanted to keep in the movie. The studio executives were like, it's not clear if that's supposed to be funny or serious. And Joe Dante, who directed the movie, was like, that's the point. That encapsulates the whole movie. Yeah. It's both or neither.
Let me go ahead.
Oh, I feel like that became like one of those urban legends too that kids would repeat. They'd be like, "Yeah, no, I know someone that they got stuck in the chimney on Christmas."
Right.
How
like,
big
probably
was
came
her
from
chimney for him to think I can go down it? And also, how did he snap his neck? Did he go face forward? She said he slipped. Like on what?
When you guys said you had a lot to talk about, I didn't think it was like the physics involved with some of the stories told in the movie.
Oh, that's just the beginning.
I have no idea. There's a lot of questions need answering.
We're getting really into the technical nitty gritty. Yeah, I assume that's part of why it's like, is this supposed to be a joke? Because that's not. No one has a chimney that you could do that in. And then, yeah, the fact that he snapped his neck on impact, you're like, I guess it was wide enough not only for him to fit down, but to spin while falling.
I'm picturing some like I don't know, like Santa Claus, like the Santa Claus antics, the Tim Allen movie, where he's like on the roof and he's like, "Ooh," and he slips and like the lights get wrapped around his neck, and then he slides down the chimney and it breaks his neck.
That could be.
It was actually a gremlin.
Could have been.
In the chimney.
Probably a gremlin. Yeah.
Gritty origin story.
Yep.
So
Gremlins, the prologue.
There you go.
Next movie.
So I knew about the rules. One thing that I was pleasantly surprised by is that the Gremlins in this movie stuck true to the way people think about Gremlins in like real life, is that what they were fucking with was like technology and the mechanics of machines and stuff. It's like, oh, that's a nice touch that's their specific focus is not just mischief in general, although there is some times where they're just straight up shooting people with guns. But both for the most part, it's like fucking with mechanical things, which I really liked.
That's interesting. There is definitely a theme of that because it ties in with all the useless bullshit his dad had in the kitchen and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like
useless bullshit.
Yeah, he got juice out of that eventually.
Yeah, that's some good invention.
Well, okay, I guess he did somehow break the laws of physics because one orange produced approximately 6 gallons of juice. So, like,
where did the orange get all its juice?
I don't.
Okay, no, that was too much juice.
It was a lot of juice.
It was, yeah. It was an
Where's the
absurd
whole
amount.
kitchen? It was
There's
one
like-
orange.
There's like 1,000 puppets that are transforming into monsters and like
Well,
wreaking havoc
first
out
of
of
all-
town. But yeah, that's a weird ratio of orange to juice.
I picked up on that too, Robbie. I thought it was
They
absurd.
told me at the end of those were real, so I don't want to hear it. They gave me the lens to view the movie. They said this whole thing is real. He criticized me.
Oh man, this is gonna be Kyle's favorite episode.
Hell yeah. And then Freddy Krueger showed up and he was like, these oranges don't make sense, bitch.
Here's my rules and my backstory and where I got my powers, bitch. So yeah, speaking of the dad, by the time the movie ended and it started doing his voiceover as the old man walks away down through that like beautifully matte painted backdrop of the town, I had forgotten that the movie also opened with that guy doing a voiceover, and I was really confused for a second. And it was kind of like, why is this? This is like maybe the 5th or 6th most important character in the movie. Why is he doing a voiceover? But I forgot that was the bookends.
The voiceover too at the beginning, I was like, wait, why does this have like a noir detective start to it? What?
You just have to break in some way. I like that they're not like you're in a city and this guy's going to a seedy shop in the basement of some place to get this thing. Why is he there? How'd he hear about it? Don't worry about it. While he's there, he hears a thing and he's like, I'm going to take this thing. Movie.
Well, I thought it was, they even covered that though. Like his first comment is like, "How are people supposed to find this place?" And it's like, "Oh, okay." They covered that real quick. Like,
Yeah.
check the box and then sneak them in.
I mean, this guy's constantly traveling for business. He goes to a convention on Christmas Eve for weird inventions. It's like, yeah, sure, that's when conventions happen.
Hey, look at the house he could afford on that fucking bullshit job back then.
It's the 80s.
She's like, "Oh, what? You sell like a piece of bullshit 4 times a month? Yeah, you could have a fucking 4-family house and 6 cars."
That's like The Simpsons. They're a single income household with multiple children, and they can afford like a similar size house to this guy.
He also works in a nuclear power plant, but that's fine.
Yeah, this guy's inventions. I feel like that's just like an 80s thing. That like sometimes your dad's doing inventions, or I'm just maybe thinking of this in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but it's
Well,
you know, it's multiple
Rugrats.
things.
There was a
Yeah.
theme of it.
Oh
for a
yeah,
while.
right.
Rugrats. I feel like
Please.
Ghostbusters. There's a lot of weird inventions.
Hmm.
Also, right around this time.
A little bit after, but Danny Phantom. I think his parents were always making weird inventions.
I should say not just right around this time. Literally opened on the same day as Gremlins did Ghostbusters. So you know the horror comedy melding was very big at this moment.
Man, that's a solid opening weekend. Like
Yeah.
seeing both of those, like that's classics.
Yeah, you have a good time. And,
Ghostbusters 1, 2, right?
yeah,
Like the first one.
the
Nice,
only good one.
the only good one.
And you'd be like, yeah, so Christmas, June 8th, 1984. That's when this movie released.
Uh,
Perfect early summer flick.
That's
rather.
when you suggested. I don't know if I said this right, but when you suggested it as a Christmas movie, I was like, "Wait, Gremlins a fucking Christmas movie?" And then I watched it. I was like, "Oh, this is like 1,000% a fucking Christmas movie." Like, I completely spaced out that it was a Christmas movie.
Yep. It is.
Definitely is. There's no disputing it.
Most of the action's on Christmas Eve. The whole thing's in the build up to Christmas.
Hmm.
And then I guess the last scene's on Christmas where the guy shows up at their house and takes Gizmo back. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very Christmassy. There's caroling. I like obviously the best part of the movie is once an hour in, the Gremlins emerge from their cocoons and they just do bits.
Yeah.
They do bits.
I love how they have a deep understanding of human culture. Like they just know how to dress up as carolers and just start Christmas caroling, but they don't know the words to any songs.
Well, so more than that, they know the sound that happens when they're fucking shit up and they sing it. They break the third wall with their caroling. Did you notice that it was the same like the gremlin sound, like what the fuck? How did it go? You know the music, the gremlins like their fucking things up music.
Yeah.
Like,
There's
their own score during it.
yeah. There's like a melody that recurs.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. And I love, not only are they aware of like the Christmas theme stuff, but they also know like, oh, this is what perverts dress like. Because there was the flasher gremlin. Very funny because they're all naked anyway. But it's nice that I had a trench coat and sunglasses.
I had like a weird fan theory that the Gremlins are reincarnated assholes because they all have like a clear like personality and backstory, even though they're like fucking 30 minutes old.
Yeah, maybe.
Great.
It's like this dude's a grizzled detective and he's only been alive for 5 minutes. I don't understand where that personality came from, but I loved it. It was good. Not a criticism at all. It was just my fun headcanon.
Oh yeah, it's fun that they're very unique. These puppets are great. I just love these puppets.
Somebody did have a very good time making all these puppets. That is for sure.
Yeah, they were just designed by a guy named Chris Wallace. There you go.
Shout out, Chris.
He also worked on The Fly a couple years after this.
Oh, that's funny. You know that guy has a weird garage.
Yeah, a bunch of other stuff too. He's uncredited ET model maker, does some creature work on Return of the Jedi. So that guy, he gets around.
Oh, there was a phone home reference at one point too in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, when you mentioned the Indiana Jones reference on the billboard, there's a lot of Spielberg references. There's a lot of character references. There's the Bugs Bunny and Sylvester, I want to say, stuffed animals that Stripe's hiding behind. There's obviously lots of Disney references.
Oh yeah, was Snow White really in theaters at that time too? Or no, this would be referencing a different time probably. I don't know what I'm thinking.
Well, they used to, before streaming and stuff, put the classics back in theaters often, so it might have been playing in the 80s too.
Oh, that's a good filler too. When you like, if movies aren't being pumped out like the volume they are now.
Well, and there also wasn't home video, unless you were super rich, because the first VHSs cost like $100.
Did you see Snow White? Nope. And I guess I never fucking will.
Yeah. So the classics would go back into theaters a lot because in a lot of ways the only time you could see them.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's interesting. It's a perspective you lose in history.
For sure. Howie Mandel does the voice of Gizmo. One of his calling cards, I guess. Did a lot of weird, not a lot of weird stuff. A lot of voice work throughout his career. Did Howie Mandel? That's all I have to say about it. He doesn't really have words to say aside from "Bye, Billy" towards the end.
So do we know? Did Furbies rip off Gremlins? Did Gremlins rip off Furbies? Yeah. Are they like a tie-in?
They were both Gremlin.
Yeah, Furbies definitely ripped off Gremlins.
They just ripped him off. Okay. It's funny because you could tell that they were clearly setting this up to have a bunch of merchandise, and then they obviously dropped the ball because Furby was able to exist. I don't understand how that happened.
It was like over a decade later. So.
Oh, was it? Was that big of a... Yeah.
Yeah. 84 to Furbies hit late 90s?
That's fair. It's weird they didn't try to capitalize on it though. That was the time for merchandising, and it was very merchandisable. Obviously.
I think there was a ton of merchandising. But we just weren't alive then.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, they mass produced a lot of Gizmo stuff and a lot of Gremlin stuff. They didn't make like a lot of Billy's toys, I guess.
Billy?
They didn't make any Billy toys.
They didn't make any viral Billy.
Yeah.
Viral Billy.
Now we have to keep the whole thing.
Oh man.
Let's see. Furby originally released 98 by Tiger Electronics. I feel like Tiger used to be such a big brand in my head.
What else did they make? Any other bangers?
There has to be some bangers, right?
Beanie Babies? Was that them?
Giga Pets.
Oh, Giga Pets. Okay. Remember those.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
We haven't talked about. So Billy, played by Zach something Galligan, I want to say. Galligan. Zach Galifianakis. A young Zach Galifianakis.
Holy shit.
Zach Galligan, who stars in both of the first two Gremlins movies. Well, the only two Gremlins movies. And I think after Gremlins, his parents make him go to college, and then his career never recovers because he just like has momentum. Like, ooh, he's starring in this hit movie as a pretty young actor, and then it's just like he stops. So he didn't really do that much else. But he's good in this. And then Phoebe Cates. This is 2 years after Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which if you haven't seen before, you've definitely seen the scene everyone knows Phoebe Cates from when she emerges from a pool and takes her bikini top off.
Yep.
That's her. This is 2 years later. She seems a lot younger in this movie because she's not, as sexualized, I guess.
It's funny because, like, by the time I saw that, like, streaming porn was already so mainstream. I was like, why do people care so much? Just, some boobs in a movie. But at the time, it was like, boobs!
Yeah.
Oh
I have to find this from magazines in the woods.
Yeah. And of course, that sequence in Fast Times at Ridgemont High is Judge Reinhold fantasizing about it happening. Judge Reinhold, in 2 scenes of this movie, was supposed to be a major character, but essentially just got cut out. He's the younger superior at the bank that's kind of a dick that asks Phoebe Cates out towards the beginning and then is not in the movie again after that.
That's interesting.
I love the part too when he's trying to like convince her to come over. He's like, "Come on, I have cable." Like that was the big thing.
Yeah. Come see my new apartment. We're talking cable.
Yeah, we're talking cable.
He was supposed to be the third main character of the movie. There's a bunch of deleted scenes with him, and he's just like super creepy.
Yeah, I guess they didn't need that either. There's still a lot of movie left. Other notable cuts, they had, I think, even filmed some of the darker stuff that they ultimately didn't put in the movie because they thought it was just way too dark. The Gremlins were supposed to kill Billy's mom and then decapitate her and throw her head down the stairs when she goes up into the attic.
I was gonna say, like, Billy's mom just disappears and they never like circle back to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They never sent a follow-up email.
Yeah. So you mentioned they don't show a lot of the deaths, even though there are some stuff. And I guess Mrs. Deagle is they kind of show, but you don't like see, life leave her body. You just see her get thrown out a window and then she's just like motionless on the ground.
It gets the Wizard of Oz treatment where you just got like the house on top and the 2 legs, but it's on her back and you got the 2 legs. It's like, oh, okay, she's dead.
That's funny. I'm going to think of that as the Wizard of Oz treatment. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I guess if somebody's making that statement, it refers to absolutely anything other than that. Like, the man behind the screen, yellow brick road, not house landing on a person.
I knew exactly what you meant, though. I think that's funny. Like, if you like a fun way to threaten someone, like, we're going to give you the Wizard of Oz treatment.
You're going to drop a house on you and steal your shoes.
Yep.
We're going to rip your heart out and put it in a robot.
Oh man.
Well, the sequel, I know only by reputation, is more of a straight comedy and loses a lot of the horror of it. So probably even further away from what you want. But yeah, this could have gone darker for me, but it is a PG movie. So
shout out Billy's mom.
Yeah, making it through.
She went on a murder spree in the kitchen.
She did. She no hesitation.
She definitely was like the relief where because like you see them being like little shits and you're like, I want to punt these things. And then she's like, yeah, I'm just gonna like just murder these things immediately. Like, yeah.
Put one in a blender and then stab one like 7 times. Like he's dead. We know he's dead.
Explode one in a microwave.
It's because like these things are like a foot tall. Like, yeah, they have nails, but like the Santa was being absolutely murdered by 3 of them. You couldn't like pick one up and just like break its neck and then grab the next and break its neck.
Just punt one.
Yeah. And I mean, not only was the Santa beset only by 3 of them, but there were 2, law enforcement officers right there.
They closed the window. They were like,
and drove away.
Well, we gotta get out of here. This is like real police work. I just want to beat up minorities and give people tickets.
And even though you see before they drive away, the Gremlins are cutting their brake line, as the car drives away, continuity era, goof section on IMDb, you clearly see the car's brake lights turn on and it slows down before it takes a turn. Just saying.
Yeah, like they didn't really finish that loop either. They like cut the brakes and they were like, something happened, maybe or not. Brakes seem to still be working.
Well, the brakes don't work, and then the car flips over, like in the next
Oh,
scene.
Did I miss that? No, maybe. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I mean, in their defense, they come back to it, but I just mean at the end of this initial scene after the brake line's cut, you can tell that the brakes are, working on the car that the actors are actually in.
Yes. Okay, but after it flips, they don't come back to him, right? They're just the car flips and we don't hear from the police.
They might have died.
Oh no!
Implied death, like you said.
Yeah. Well, what was I going to say? It was something related. Yeah. Whatever. When the mom's on her murder spree, which is like, I like that she goes into a totally badass, like, I'm just mad these things are in my kitchen mode. I'm not going to leave the house. And she does a good job. I mean, she gets most of them. She gets everyone but Stripe, right? If they had just like kept him away from that YMCA, they'd have been fine.
She's got the highest kill count outside of Billy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I was thinking it was funny because there's pretty fun crossover to the other two movies we've done so far this month. One, It's a Wonderful Life, which you actually see the mom watching earlier
on the TV.
Yeah, it's like straight up being watched on the TV. And then Black Christmas, because Billy calls his mom and tells her not that the call's coming from inside the house and you have to leave right now, but the gremlins are inside the house and you have to leave right now. And it's like, oh, it's basically the same thing. Yep. And it's Christmas themed. And then much like the character in Black Christmas, she decides not to leave the house, but instead investigates. And yeah. And ends up murdering someone. Yeah. So I thought that was fun. That was just for me, I guess. But hey, fun. So that's all getting cut out. And I started talking when Cory was saying something, and it was probably a good point. If you want to repeat it, sorry.
Oh, that's gone. I have no idea what I was talking about.
It's okay.
We were talking about there's like stuff from like a lot of other movies or something.
I think you said there's like a lot of call outs.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of shout outs to like other movies in there.
I thought from like Aliens too, with like the little like egg things that they were transforming.
Yes.
I'd love to see in Aliens versus Gremlins, by the way.
Oh, I would love that. They just like all attach to each other like a Voltron scenario, and that would be sick.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking they would just like fuck with the aliens, like they'd beat them through a series of wacky antics.
Oh, that'd
be like
better.
like a zany comedy.
Yeah.
Tom and Jerry kind of thing.
Yeah, that'd be fun too.
Oh,
that would be good. And they keep going into smaller vents that the aliens can't fit into, and they're like, "Vents was our thing."
I definitely see him like they go to the smaller thing, and then it like shoots its tongue out at them, and then another gremlin has a pair of scissors and like cuts it off.
They're like, and the gremlin's just like,
yep, no, for sure. There's
one
a lot of
comes in dressed like an alien, like, oh, look at me.
It totally fools them too. Yeah. They tie their tails together, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh my god! Fucking a chest burster gets one of them, but like the gremlin alien's just a little shit. Doesn't like actually do alien things. He's just working with them,
smoking cigarettes and drinks beer.
So the fun thing would be like the second Alien versus Predator movie where there's the Pred Alien. What would a Predlin? I guess that would be the
Kremlin.
What would the Kremlin?
Kremlin.
Predator's the wrong part. Right. Yeah, I was gonna say actually the pre part isn't the right part of the portmanteau to keep.
It's a Gremalian.
Yeah, Gremalian. What would the Gremalian's whole thing be? What would it look like?
Yeah, like which body parts and like that's a good question.
Yeah,
I'm picturing just like a little real quick. It's like a gremlin head on like a small like alien body, and it's brown.
It has like fur on it and stuff.
I don't think it's fur. It's just brown.
It's got the coloring. I imagine it shoots out like the little mouth that it shoots out is like a gremlin's face, and it's
like Danny DeVito with an alien tongue. You know?
Yeah, I think that's probably it.
Yeah.
Gremlins versus Predators would be fun too, because Predators rely more on technology, so the Gremlins could fuck with them that way.
That would be way better. Yeah. Like, oh, my invisibility actually just turned me green.
I'm just scrolling through other like facts and stuff, and one thing is just director Joe Dante acknowledged some parents were upset after taking their young children to see Gremlins in theaters. It's like, yeah, I bet they were.
What did they say? Why?
Yeah. Ooh, I bet they were. I bet they were.
Oh, Mom, look at that cute gremlin. Oh my God, is he dying in a blender? Yep.
Why did I bring you to this?
It's just so funny that in the beginning when he goes to buy little Milwaukee, he walks into this random like small Chinatown store and then finds this strange animal and he's like, I need this to give to my child for Christmas. And it's like, you were looking for a small foreign new species to give to your child for Christmas. Like,
he had to have it.
He had to have it. The kid was asking for it. He's like, Dad, all I want is an undiscovered species as a pet.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
And you're assuming just based on that vibe, this is like a small child he must be talking about. It's like not like a son adult with a job
in his stocking. Like this guy works at a bank and you're gifting him a little toy robot.
Yeah. He's clearly like post school.
He's probably like 22.
I think he is.
I thought he was like young 20s when I saw him at first.
Yeah, he's dating a bartender. Like he's This is not a child. He doesn't need it, but he is really excited that the idea that his daddy got him a puppy for Christmas. Which is like, was this written for a child? And then they forgot they were writing it for a child and changed it to a guy who works at a bank and is in his early 20s.
And he's able to just drop like $200-300 on this random animal from this random Chinese dude. Like, that's a lot of money in 1984. You could buy a house for that, basically.
Yes, dude. Buy a car.
Just handing that shit out. Yeah, in a car. How about giving your son a new $200-300 car instead of some strange animal, because his car clearly has problems.
Yeah,
get him a Kentucky Harvester.
You can't.
Back
how about
then,
that
was
super
probably
racist,
like
dude?
2 cars.
Hey, not racist, xenophobic.
Whoa. You can't trust the foreigners.
Specifically, foreign consumer products that he's xenophobic about.
Doesn't he say something about foreigners at one point too?
I think probably, because he also talks about World War II in a way that you're like, I don't like the way you like World War II. I can just tell.
Yeah, but which side?
Good question.
That guy was. Yeah, there is like a nice builds early. We haven't really talked about plot beat by beat. I don't think we have to. I think we're fine. There is an early, I guess the first 40 to hour of the movie that's you're setting up like, here's the people in town who suck that are going to get murdered by gremlins later.
Yep.
And I like that. It's a good build.
That was like what my first note when the older lady comes to the bay. He's like, oh, this lady's evil because the music told me so. So like immediately like lay it on thick, like, oh yeah, she sucks. And then she sucks way worse than most villains I've seen in the movies. I mean, immediately threatening to skin a dog alive is like top tier villain behavior.
Yeah, John Wick would be fucking pissed.
Oh yeah, dude.
She deserved to be John Wick. She should have been gun food right to the dome. She's like a mix of Potter from It's a Wonderful Life, because it's all very money based with his particular brand of evil, and Cruella de Vil. It's just like clearly, let's just get both of those winter villains involved. Because I feel like 101 Dalmatians is also set in winter, right? So yeah,
I could see that. Yeah, I mean, she's making a coat, so it wouldn't make sense to do it in summer.
No, that would just be wasteful. Yeah, I like just how out of control evil she is. I was like, the first 15-20 minutes of a movie, I'm always still battling my brain chemistry, and it's hard for me to soak up all the expositional details. What was her job? Did she?
She just like owned the bank. I don't know.
She was the owner of
she
the
was
bank.
rich. She was
I,
just
I
rich.
thought she like on the board of trustees or like she seemed to have
Okay.
like something to do with the bank. Like maybe she owns a lot of shit. You know what I mean?
They never
Because
specified though, right?
they don't tell you what she does, but she's
Yeah.
like, me and the bank have the same goal to make as much money as possible.
Seems like she might like if it's not that, then she like privately owns other people's mortgages or something.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
yeah,
'Cause,
that-
yeah,
that
they
lady.
were asking for more time. And it's like, more time for what? What are the stakes here?
Yeah, or I guess she could be a landlord, maybe, but it's I don't know.
Well, it sounded like she wanted her to talk to the bank because she was like,
Right.
"Can you talk to Mr. Blah?" So that's why I was thinking she's like on the board or so. I don't know.
Right.
Oh, I thought that
That
was
would
her
make
like
sense.
husband or something that owned all
That-
the buildings. But yeah, that makes more sense if he was the bank because they were outside of the bank.
And they seem to have like some kind of like everybody was listening to her, like, "Oh, you were pissed off, Miss blah blah blah," or whatever. Like I
Also, I know it's bad, but it did get me to chuckle that the only like line after where the kid's going, "I'm hungry," like after she was just like, "Screw you, you poor bastard."
Yeah.
it was perfect. I said, "What is this Christmas
I'm
Carol remake?"
hungry.
Yes.
Please,
It's-
sir, may I have a month of mortgage?
Yeah. Those characteristics in that situation is almost exactly like the villain in It's a Wonderful Life is doing the same thing, and he's
I've actually never seen it.
I hadn't either, but now I have, and I can understand those references in other Christmas movies.
It's got so my notes like when after she was doing her whole bit, I was like, "Oh, I hate this bitch." And then my next note is from when they're in the bar, and he's like, "I'm 23 years old. I'm gonna be a millionaire at 30." And I went, "Oh, I hate this bitch."
Yeah,
Both very unlikable.
That's Judge Reinhold's last scene in the movie. I think unless he's in the background of another scene or something. I don't think he has other
No, that's
lines.
his last scene.
Yeah.
Nope. I don't even think you
'Cause
see him
there's a
get
lot
killed
of
or
deleted
anything. Like
scenes
he's
with
not
him.
like part of like the Gremlins. Yeah.
It was
Oh,
a party. I thought wasn't he hanging out with him or something, partying at the bar?
Oh,
it's just the Gremlins are like, this guy's on our wavelength. Let's
this
get
guy
him in here."
fucks.
This guy fucks.
This guy's Beryl.
Yeah. You can tell. This guy doesn't respect women. Let's get him on board. Let's play a few rounds of cards with him.
Yeah.
Oh
I guess
man.
it's fine.
I have a couple fun notes. Imagine finding a weird, mysterious creature and you just like fucking bring it to your high school science teacher, and he's like, "Oh yes, let me run
Oh,
some
yeah.
tests on this."
Yeah,
He just injects this random animal after hours in the school classroom.
Yeah,
Like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
This is an affluent white suburb during Reagan times. They have enough money for the teachers to have resources like this, I guess.
It's the 80s, you know?
Yeah.
Anything goes. He was probably high.
There was a lot of like just what I call Jesus Christ moments. It was this time of year, while some people are opening presents, others are opening their wrists. Jesus Christ.
Who said that?
Phoebe
That was
Cates. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who did? Wait, what?
The by the end of the
The
movie,
main female.
girlfriend. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's fucking brutal.
It's
Yeah.
like, Jesus.
And-
oh god.
I was gonna say, in her defense, she is like Billy is just like not leaving the whole "why don't you like Christmas" thing alone. So maybe she's like, I gotta say something shocking to just get him to change the subject.
Let me just do something extreme. When I had a note, great last words. There's a real gremlin in my cab.
I did love that guy was just like, he was mostly just like, at least I got to see one before I died.
And then, like, you're referencing some kind of lore as if there's like this established myth of gremlins that have just been proven real to you.
It's just that this, yeah, and it's the ultimate comeuppance because he's the first person to mention gremlins in the movie, and he's like, this is when he is being, oh, those foreigners are putting gremlins in their TVs and their cars and sending them over here. We should have gotten a Zenith. And I guess for him, like I'm saying, the ultimate comeuppance is turns out there was a Gremlin and his Kentucky-made tractor.
Oh my god, that is perfect. I didn't even put that part
I
together.
didn't even think of that.
I don't know if that's it's just funny to think about later.
Yeah, it could be. Either way, it works.
Yeah. He's like, God damn it. The foreigners are putting gremlins in my American-made car now.
That sounds like some shit that people would say nowadays.
Oh, for sure.
We keep coming
Thanks,
across
Joe
characters. We keep coming across characters in these movies that definitely want to make America great again, and that's one of them right there.
Oh yeah.
Um,
The dude in the bar, Judge Reinhold, he is all about it. He was fucking partying with Kavanaugh. That's why we didn't see him.
around the right time, right?
I think
Mid-80s?
so.
Yeah.
Maybe that was Boofer or whatever.
Chris Columbus. This is not his first produced screenplay, but the same year as his first produced screenplay. And I've never heard of the other movie. So let's say it's basically his first one. He goes on to be a really successful director, despite having a name like Chris Columbus, which I'm sure people were like, oh, that's funny. But he's made so many of the highest grossing movies ever. He's like one of these guys that just gets attached to a really successful, famous guy that likes him and keeps letting him make movies. In this case, Steven Spielberg. So within a few years, he starts directing. He directs the first 2 Home Alone movies. He directs the first 2 Harry Potter movies. He directs Goonies. So he becomes a very big deal, and he's still making movies. But this is essentially his first major screenplay. He only wrote it as a spec script. Steven Spielberg, and he didn't mean it to like get made. This was just to show people, like just to send it to studio execs or other big names in Hollywood and be like, look, I can write, hire me to write your movies. And it gets to Spielberg, and Spielberg's like, oh no, this is a movie. We have to make this. So there you go.
I wonder if that's what the Columbus Theater's named after, maybe?
I don't know. It's kind of in Federal Hill, so I'm guessing it might be an Italian thing.
No, they hate Christopher Columbus.
Yeah. Yeah, so I really like the pool scene where all the smoke and fog and all the bubbling starts happening, and I really like the final battle and Stripe's death scene, and I think the skeletal version of Stripe is an extremely good puppet.
They did a very good job with that. It was very well done.
Good puppet.
All the puppeteering was really good, really well done.
Yeah.
I watched a behind the scenes earlier, and it's worth at least like seeing how Gizmo was ran.
Yeah. It's a whole fucking art form that's really tough, and I like when puppets are in movies, and I want more. I like when that one puppet is doing a puppet show at the bar.
Yeah, that's
great. Layers on layers, wheels within wheels. Do you want to get to ratings?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, on a scale of 0.5 to 5, going up by halves, on any scale of your choosing, besides stars, what would you give 1984's Gremlins?
I'll give it 3 blended Gremlins out of 5.
That guy gets fucking blended.
Super blended.
I have my number. I'm trying to come up with my scale.
That's always the toughest part.
4 old ladies thrown out of a window out of 5.
It's pretty good.
I'll do 3.5 Kentucky Harvesters out of 5.
Nice.
Nice.
American made.
I'm going to go with 4 out of 5 really important rules to not cause a bunch of people in your town to get murdered by monsters.
Nice.
I know there's only 3 rules, but the 4th rule is this movie, because this movie rules.
Nice.
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 I see what you did there.
So we started doing every month. There's like a question that strings all the episodes together. This one's Christmas, so I'm lazy. We're just with the Christmas thing. What is y'all's Christmas comfort watch? What do you love throwing on? What's the thing you always throw on or often throw on during the holiday season?
I don't watch anything. Yeah, I don't have any like reoccurring.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't have a Christmas.
Well, then is there anything, any content at all that you like to revisit around here, or just a thing that in a vacuum might be good to take a look at again?
I usually end up watching Lord of the Rings around this time of year, or like every other or so. So that's definitely mine.
That would be the closest. Like, it's not like an every year thing for me, though. It's like every few, maybe.
That counts.
Yeah. Last year I watched The Princess Bride on Christmas, and I might do that again this year.
That's a great choice.
That is a really good one.
Oh, that's dope.
What about you, Ben?
I'm trying to come up with a different one every episode. First one I said Muppet Christmas Carol.
That's a good one too.
Second, last episode I stole an answer from the previous episode, but I'm counting it for me too. Die Hard.
Oh, that's a good one.
They were showing it on the TVs at Free Play when I was there last night, which was
awesome.
A really good choice.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was good. Fun time too. I hadn't been there since before the pandemic, and it is the same.
Oh yeah, exactly the same. I've been there a few times since.
They don't have an Addams Family pinball table anymore, and that was their best one, and it's not there anymore, which is unfortunate.
I haven't been in so long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
probably
fun.
the same. Right before the pandemic.
Yeah, I would have invited.
There's just
It
always
was
too
for my
many
sister's
people.
birthday, so I wasn't in charge of invites, or you guys all would have come.
Don't worry about it.
For this episode, let me go with a different Chris Columbus movie, one he directed, not just wrote. I'll go with Home Alone.
Nice. Yeah, that's
That's a really good one too.
Yeah.
The second one has the big New York Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, with Donald Trump, right?
Yep.
Yep.
He gets in Donald Trump's limo. So thanks for being on, Cory, Noah, and Robbie.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
See you.
And thanks to Craig for his production skills as always.
Thanks, Craig.
We love
Thank you,
Craig.
Craig.
Bye, Craig.
Still hate robots.
He always looks so scared in his headshot there.
He's not good at public speaking.
No, that's fine. You don't have to be. He's behind the scenes. Greg is, and that'll just about do it. Thanks again, and you can find our stuff on Linktree, linktr.ee/late to the movies. I forgot to say that last time, so no one's ever going to find our stuff again if that's the only episode they listen to.
No.
I think that does it for us. Don't get your Mogwai wet after midnight. That sounded more suggestive than I meant it to. I'm sorry. It's in the movie, but it doesn't.
Why not, dude?
Don't get them wet with anything. Any kind of Vero liquid.
Don't get them wet. Yeah.
Oh man.